How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a video I didn't want to make. In fact, rather than talk about it, let me show you. Come outside with me for a second. Just over there, just somewhere around here, there you go, just there, you can see my lovely little Mazda MX-5. But what's missing from that selection of cars over there? We know that my other Mazda MX-5 sits in my grandparents' driveway, so that's fine. But there's one other car that's particularly important for the channel, which doesn't seem to be here. Well, I have some bad news. So basically, my dad needed a car to drive to and from his garage into, obviously he's a mechanic, so he takes his car to the garage. He didn't have a car at the time, he just scrapped his old Fiesta. So I gave him my Polo to drive around in the meantime, look after it for me, because I actually only have one parking space where I currently live. And just 2 weeks ago, I received this message. Yeah, not good. So what's happening with the Polo? Is it dead? All will be explained, all the plans, all the stuff that's going on, I will let you know. Remember to hit the like button if you enjoy this kind of content, subscribe as well if you're new here. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So we're back in the office for this part of the video. Right, so what happened then? My dad had obviously been driving the car as discussed. I was going to take it back at winter time because it's hassle to drive my MX-5 during the winter. Just going to keep driving it and then give my MX-5 back to my family home and then have my Polo down here for the winter. So for that time, my dad's been driving it, no big deal. It's actually better for the car if it keeps on being driven rather than just sitting there stagnant and just collecting dust. Unfortunately, on one of my dad's drives down to his garage, it threw a rod. So basically, engine dunzo, finished, finito, nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can do stuff about it, but it wasn't worth the money to fix the engine. So my dad asked if we wanted to do a project on it in that message. I said I want the 1.8T in there at some point, so we should probably think about how we do that. I know the engine code and everything that you need to do to get the right 1.8T to put into the car. For those that aren't following, by the way, the 1.8T is the 1.8 turbocharged engine that comes out of the Polo GTI and a whole bunch of other cars as well. So I would love to swap that into my Polo. You need to do like the engine, the wiring loom, a few other bits, and it will go in quite nicely. It does, however, mean you need to change the key and all other kind of stuff as well, which can be a little bit of hassle, but it is doable. So that was the immediate intention, but then I actually need a car sooner than I can get a BJX engine, and my dad can source stuff really quickly. So what he did was he sourced a 12 valve engine, a 1.2 litre engine with, I think it's like 64 brake horsepower is what I'm guessing. Basically, my old one was a 6 valve. This is a 12 valve, and yeah, he just shoved it into the car. Pretty much a like for like swap, except this has a little bit more horsepower, and I've been in it already, and it's actually a little bit quicker than before. When I say a little bit, beforehand, it was doing 18 seconds to 60. So when I say it's a bit quicker, it's really like 14 seconds to 60. It's not a fast car by any means. And I have zero intentions on modifying a 1.2 litre inline 3 engine. There's just no point. But he literally swapped the engine outside of my family home, just literally got his crane out, lifted the old engine, put the new engine in, connected it all back together. Lovely. So yes, the Polo was briefly dead. That was it. It was done. And I did actually think in that time about swapping my cars altogether. Not the MX-5, that's going to stay, but the Polo, I was thinking to myself, I really want to do a project on it that gives it justice and does it justice as probably the flagship car of my channel that helped to grow to where we are today. But I also really wanted to bring a different daily driver into the mix so that I could start driving that around. And the only reason why I haven't done that, outside of the fact that I literally just can't let go of the Polo for whatever reason, was a story my parents told me about two guys very recently stumbling across my dad washing his Peugeot outside of my house. This is a good story, you want to hear this. Basically, at my family home, you obviously had my Polo parked up on the drive. It wasn't moving, it was broken, it didn't have an engine in it, etc. And my dad was getting ready to go to Salon Privé to take his Peugeot that he's been building over the last couple of years. Loads of videos on that if you want to go check them out. There's a whole playlist. I'll link it in the description or on the pinned comment, or we know what I'm saying. So obviously it's a WRC Peugeot. It's very impressive. It's super interesting to look at, and you'd see it and you'd be like, wow, that is incredible. So these young guys are standing across the road from my family home, and my dad assumes that they are looking at the Peugeot. They're a bit young, so they're maybe in their like early teens or a bit younger than that. They're looking at the car and they're being like, wow, that's amazing, blah, 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 blah. And they're chatting to each other. So they cross the road over, coming towards where my dad is washing his Peugeot, and they walk past the Peugeot and they walk to the Polo and they say, That is the one, isn't it? That's Cars with JB's Polo. So they have just walked past a Peugeot 206 WRC car, literally a rally car on the street that you would just never see. They've walked up to my £400 Polo. The only redeeming feature about it is that it's blue. And they have been more mesmerized by the fact they're seeing my Polo than my dad's Peugeot. Now, my dad's not the kind of guy who'd care about that, by the way. And apparently one of them was like, sorry mister, do you know Cars with JB? And the other one said, that's Cars with JB's dad, that's Cars with JB's dad. So yeah, that's just a really weird experience, I think, for my dad, and my mum was also there. My dad and my mum to have, and then also from my perspective as well, it gave me a quick reminder that the Polo really is actually probably the main star of my car ownership experience. And I need to really root myself in the fact that that car and everything about it in terms of it being cheap, easy to drive, cheap to insure, all the other good stuff, is kind of where this channel began, and it's why I make so many videos on cheap cars, because I like cheap cars, and also they're the only cars I can kind of afford. So at least for the time being, I'm not going to replace the Polo with another car as my daily, just based on that story alone. I need to do it justice as it is as a daily driver with some cheap modifications that make it as good as possible, and I'm going to think about what I can do over the winter depending on how things go, depending on how difficult it is with all of the madness that we're expecting over winter. But when I do get a new daily, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I've been thinking about stuff like a Mark V Golf GTI, maybe a Scirocco R, I don't know. Basically, I've thought about a few different cars. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, what you think I should go for next. And you know I will respect your opinion, because I literally bought the MX-5 because you guys told me to. So yeah, a very short update on the Polo. Effectively, it broke, it died, it got fixed. Luckily, we're all good. That's great. Thanks to my dad as well for clearing all that stuff up. I got cold feet about the Polo. I got warm feet about the Polo. I'm ready to go with some more Polo content. Please stick around for more Polo stuff. And I should be getting it back at the end of this month to drive around over winter, so there'll be some Polo content on the way. I've just been lazy with it. I haven't had enough time this summer to get stuff done, just been super busy. So yes, hopefully over winter, I'll get a bit more time and I'll get that car in the position it needs to be in. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know them in the comments down below. Subscribe as well if you're new here, and hit the like button if you like this kind of content. I want to see more Polo videos. But as always, a massive thanks to the patrons for their support, and to you guys as well for watching. I'll see you in the next one.